When you stop and think about it, it's kind of mind-blowing. All the stuff your body does completely on its own. Your breathing, your heart beating, digesting your food, it all just happens. Well, it's not magic. There's a hidden control system running the show 24/7. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this incredible network, the autonomic nervous system.
Ugh, you know that feeling, right? Your heart is just pounding in your chest, your palms get all clammy. These aren't just random freakouts. Nope. They are very precise, totally automatic commands coming from your body's own internal command center, reacting to the world around you in real time. And this right here is the boss. Meet the autonomic nervous system, or the ANS for short. The best way to think of it is like your personal mission control. It's this massive, involuntary web of nerves that's constantly managing all of your vital functions, keeping you alive and stable without you ever having to lift a finger or, a thought. So how is this amazing autopilot actually put together? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the anatomy of the ANS. You're going to see it's actually got a surprisingly elegant design. Okay, so this whole system is basically split into three main teams. First, you've got the two big players we're going to focus on a lot today, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic systems. And then there's the enteric system, which is this wild, complex network of neurons just in our gut. It's so intricate that people literally call it our second brain. Now, the basic wiring for this whole thing is a really simple but super effective relay system. Most of the signals travel on a two-neuron chain. The first nerve cell, the preganglionic one, kicks things off from your brain or spinal cord. It then passes the message to a second postganglionic neuron at what you can think of as a junction box. And that second neuron takes the signal the rest of the way to the target organ. Simple as that. All right, now for the main event. Those two big players, the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems, they're like two opposing teams in a constant tug of war to keep your body in perfect balance. Let's meet them. And check this out. This diagram shows their layouts perfectly. On one side, you can see how the sympathetic or fight or flight nerves all come out from the middle part of the spine. But on the other side, the parasympathetic or rest and digest nerves start way up at the top and way down at the bottom. This physical separation is a huge clue to their very different jobs. And their roles are actually pretty easy to remember. Just think of the sympathetic system as your body's gas pedal. It slams down during stress or excitement, getting you ready for intense action. That's fight or flight. The parasympathetic system, that's your brake pedal. It takes over when you're calm, handling all the chill stuff like digestion, slowing your heart down, and saving energy. That's rest and digest. So remember that two-neuron chain we were just talking about? Well, like with any good rule, there's a really cool exception. The signal that goes to your adrenal medulla, that's the very core of your adrenal gland, it actually gets a direct line from that first neuron. It skips the middleman. This creates a superhighway for stress signals, which is how you get that near instant release of adrenaline right when you need it most. But wait, how do these nerves actually talk to the organs? It's not just an electrical zap. Right at that final connection, the message turns chemical. And this creates this amazing language of what we can call messengers and mailboxes. These chemical signals are called neurotransmitters. You can picture them as these tiny chemical notes released by a nerve ending. And what's wild is that in this entire complex autonomic system, the whole conversation is basically run by just two main messengers, acetylcholine and noradrenaline, which you might also know as norepinephrine. And these messengers aren't imported. They're built right inside your body through a kind of molecular assembly line. This pathway shows exactly how your body creates noradrenaline and its even more famous cousin, adrenaline. It all starts with a basic amino acid, which your body then converts step by step into dopamine, then into noradrenaline, and finally into adrenaline for that massive energy surge. Okay, so we've got the messenger, but how does the cell get the message? Well, the target cells are covered in these specialized proteins called receptors. These are the mailboxes, and each mailbox is shaped to only accept one specific messenger, just like a lock will only open with the right key. This specificity is absolutely crucial for the whole thing to work. And it gets even cooler. because there isn't just one type of mailbox. Oh no, the system is way more sophisticated than that. Receptors that grab acetylcholine are called cholinergic, and they have subtypes like nicotinic and muscarinic. Receptors that grab noradrenaline or adrenaline are called adrenergic, with their own subtypes like alpha and beta. And this system of different mailboxes is just brilliant because it lets the body give very specific instructions to different parts of the body using only a couple of messengers.
All right, so we have the teams, we have the messengers, and we have the mailboxes. Now let's put it all together and see this beautiful balancing act in action on some of your most important organs. Let's start with your heart. When that sympathetic fight-or-flight system kicks in, it shoots out noradrenaline, which hits the beta-1 mailboxes, telling your heart, go faster, beat harder. But when the parasympathetic rest and digest system takes over, it sends out acetylcholine to the M2 mailboxes, telling your heart, okay, chill out, slow down. It's this perfect push and pull. And it's the exact same idea with your breathing. In an emergency, your body is screaming for more oxygen, right? So adrenaline hits the beta-2 receptors in your lungs, which relaxes and opens up your airways to get more air in. But when you're just sitting here rusting, the parasympathetic system uses acetylcholine on M3 receptors to keep those airways a bit tighter, which is actually more efficient for calm breathing. Here's another awesome example, one you can actually see in the mirror. Your sympathetic system hits the alpha-1 receptors in your eye to make your pupils huge, letting in way more light so you can see a threat better. Then, in bright and calm conditions, your parasympathetic system uses the M3 receptors to shrink your pupils down, protecting your retina. It's just this elegant, automatic dance. Now, this system is incredibly tough, but it's not perfect. It can fail. So what happens when the autopilot goes haywire? And more importantly, how can modern medicine help get it back on track? Well, a breakdown in the ANS can lead to some really serious problems. For instance, a rare tumor can just flood your body with stress hormones, a group of chemicals we call catecholamines, causing dangerously high activity. Nerve damage from diseases like diabetes can scramble these delicate signals. And as we're about to see, even being exposed to certain chemicals can cause a total system meltdown. Let's dig into that last one, because it's wild. Certain pesticides actually work by blocking the enzyme that's supposed to clean up all the extra acetylcholine. This causes a massive pileup of the messenger, which basically jams the rest and digest system in the on position. The result is a really dangerous condition where all of the body's secretions go into overdrive. You can even see the list of symptoms here in this classic medical mnemonic. But this is where modern medicine is so incredible. We can actually design drugs that interact with the system on its own terms. We have drugs called agonists that mimic a messenger to activate a mailbox, and we have antagonists that block a mailbox, preventing a message from ever getting through. By using these tools, we can help fix these imbalances and treat the very diseases we just talked about. So we've seen how the system runs on autopilot, this complex, beautiful machine of nerves and messengers and receptors. But that leaves us with one last big thought. If it's all autonomic, are we just along for the ride? Or through things like deep breathing or mindfulness, can we actually learn to grab the wheel? It's something to think about.